So, a couple of days ago, I posted a theory video covering the question of the three queens Littlefinger mentioned in A Feast for Crows. The reception to the video was mixed. This is the most wrong theory I've seen since Kingsguard Beyond the Wall. I theorized the three queens in question are Cersei Lannister, Margaery Tyrell, and Olenna Tyrell. Many disagreed. It's Sansa. I thought Sansa was the third queen. First, this is the most wrong theory I've seen since, which is fine. We all don't have to agree on everything. As long as we're all respectful, we can have many spirited, even heated discussions. Just don't do something silly like, I don't know, record 3-hour-long videos called Kevin Pendragon has no idea what he's talking about, just because you don't like something I've said. That would be really weird. Only an insane person that should be locked up in a padded room and never released would ever do such a thing. People like that don't really exist, do they? Oh, I am so not done with you. Believe it. Anyway, I did my best to explore all options and avenues when I made my theory video on the three potential queens. I even went over candidates like Selyse Baratheon and Jane Westerling. It's just, I kinda forgot Sansa Stark becomes Queen in the North at the end of Game of Thrones and how that could happen in the books as well.
Bitch, you better be joking.
I should have included Sansa in my discussion. I did not. Not my finest moment, to be sure. Listen, I am mostly human. We all make mistakes. Now I am here to correct things. This is my mea culpa, my apology video with tears.
We messed up. A lot of you spoke out with extremely valid comments and concerns, and we want to take the time now to address those.
But before I begin, don't forget to sign up to my Patreon. That's right, give me your money. Today, I am here to address the question, is Sansa Stark the third queen Littlefinger spoke of? More than likely, yes. But there are a lot of reasons why she might not be. At least, she might become queen, but not because of Littlefinger. Let's discuss. Let me begin by saying I don't really care if she becomes queen in the North. I do believe Sansa will end the story in a position of power, whether it's Queen in the North, Lady of Winterfell, Lady of the Eyrie, or a combination of all three, doesn't factor heavily into my theories. This, I hope, will be made more clear in my upcoming Littlefinger video. In short, what I focus on is Sansa being empowered by Littlefinger and how that will backfire for him. Sansa is the girlfriend Littlefinger has always wanted, the daughter he never had. This is from Martin himself. Littlefinger can't decide if Sansa is his daughter or his girlfriend. Somehow he sees her as both. Even when there isn't an opportunity for incest, Martin will still find ways to make things weird. The twist being Sansa won't complete Littlefinger's life. She will be the one to end his life. But if Sansa becomes queen in the North, will Littlefinger be the one to make that happen? Because making a monarch is no easy thing. Even if one succeeds, the risk is not always worth the reward. Just ask Lady Jane Grey, the 9-day Queen of England and Ireland. Do you want to know why she's called the 9-day Queen? Well, because on the 9th day of her reign... Just kidding, she wasn't executed on the 9th day, she was just arrested. She wasn't killed until much later. Jane Grey being called the 9-day Queen is more than likely the inspiration for Rhaenyra Targaryen being called the half-year Queen. Martin often draws inspiration from real history. The more you know, I am very smart. I read a Wikipedia article once, clap. And it's not like Jane was a completely illegitimate monarch either. She had a valid claim to the throne. She was related to Edward, Elizabeth, Mary, and them. They were all cousins with claims to the throne. The problem is, the players using her as a pawn played all the wrong moves. And because of their failure, Jane was arrested and charged with treason. Because when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or... you know... She ended up dead as hell. Jane was much shorter in death than she was in life. Being a lord or lady has its own perils, but being a monarch is an especially perilous position. A crown makes for a rather large target, as Cersei Lannister once told her baby daddy brother, Jaime, quote, "Fool, no one who wears a crown is ever safe," end quote. Is Littlefinger willing to put such a target on Sansa's head? If we're going to consider Sansa is the third queen, we must needs also consider the risk and rewards that come along with it. Because if the risks outweigh the rewards, will Littlefinger do it? Would he be so foolish? Littlefinger promised Sansa Winterfell, not a crown. Still, that doesn't mean he doesn't have a plan for that. It just means he didn't tell her all the details of his plan. And the reason for that is simple. Sansa Stark is what is commonly known as a yapper. Girl talks too much. She told Cersei about her father's plans. She told the small council about Jane Poole being in her bedroom. She brought up Renly's death to Sir Loras in casual conversation. Cringe. She told Dantos about how the Tyrells were planning to send her to Highgarden to marry Willis. She called Jon Snow by his full government name to Miranda Royce, showcasing knowledge of the North a bastard like Elaine Snow is not likely to have. Sansa, my good sis. Silence! So, if Littlefinger has a plan to crown her, it's best he doesn't tell her. But would Littlefinger crown Sansa when crowning her might mean killing her? Let me explain what I mean. Tyrion Lannister considered crowning his niece Myrcella as queen just to cause mischief. Illyrio Mopatis helped him to realize that doing so would be a disaster. Myrcella might be the rightful heir to the Iron Throne by Dornish law, but Dornish law only works in Dorne. Deep down, Tyrion knew this would not work. He just wanted to raise a little hell before he died. He just never considered Myrcella's innocent in all of this. Tyrion was too focused on his hatred and vengeance. Luckily, Illyrio pointed out the error of his ways. Arianne Martell had no such person to point out crowning Myrcella would be a big mistake. Now look, Myrcella is missing an ear and she's either dead or dying. Darkstar probably poisoned her, a technique he learned from his lover Oberyn Martell. Yes, in my headcanon, Darkstar is not just of the night, he is a power bottom. But the point is, there is a big risk in crowning Sansa queen. There's a big risk in revealing Sansa is alive, period. Sansa is a wanted woman. It is believed by some she had a part to play in Joffrey's death. If Littlefinger makes Sansa Lady of Winterfell, it would be because he's certain that the North is capable of withstanding any immediate retaliation from the Iron Throne. Remember, Cersei is the main one supporting the witch hunt for Sansa, but Cersei is currently clinging to the last vestiges of her power. She may have a few more tricks hidden up her dagged sleeves, but she won't be queen for much longer. If Sansa were to suddenly reappear at Winterfell, Cersei won't really be able to do anything about it. She will be mad. She will rage, curse Littlefinger in his sudden but inevitable betrayal. But there isn't much she can do about it. And you know what? It's her own bloody damn fault. If she didn't piss off the Tyrells or rearm the Faith Militant, she would have the time necessary to deal with Littlefinger and his little she-wolf. Once Cersei is dethroned and a new monarch rises to power, the problem of Sansa Stark will become something for them to deal with. If the next ruler is young Griff, and I believe it will be, I can't imagine him, Jon Connington, or Varys carrying that Sansa rules Winterfell. If young Griff's wife is Arianne Martell, I can totally see her supporting it. A woman ruling in her own right, she would be like, girl, you ate that. Is that something the youth would say these days? Cause I don't know. I'm old. Skibbity toilet. Sansa surviving and reclaiming her family's seat of power would actually solve a huge problem for the throne. I don't think there's any ruler that would relish trying to bring peace to the North without a Stark available. Especially during winter. Lady Stark, with Littlefinger's help, would be bringing the North back into the King's peace. Now, if Sansa suddenly reappears as queen in the North, that's another issue. That would mean the North is continuing its campaign for independence. That would mean risking war with whoever takes the Iron Throne. We know that Bran will become king in the end. That obviously lessens the chance of war between the North and the South. However, Littlefinger doesn't know that because he's a fictional character. Continuing the fight for Northern independence is a huge risk. especially when you consider it didn't go so well to begin with.
Welcome to the kill count!
If Littlefinger plans to make Sansa a queen, he must not only be prepared for short-term retaliation, but for long-term retaliation as well. Northern independence must be possible based on his calculation that Sansa and her children and her children's children can maintain their monarchy. It doesn't seem likely any future king or queen on the Iron Throne is going to want to rule from a severed kingdom. Ooh, hold on now. I like the idea of a realm called the Severed Kingdoms. Nobody steal my idea. Anyway, future kings of Westeros will probably treat the North the same way the Targaryens treated Dorne. I just love it when people say Aegon united the Seven Kingdoms to bring peace and prepare for the next long night. Like, how was repeatedly attacking Dorne bringing peace? Hello, Dorne. It's me, Aegon the Conqueror, your savior. Die. I guess the others can't kill the Dornish if they're already dead. I think it's safe to say if the North declares its independence, they need to be prepared to hold it. So we have to look at things from Littlefinger's perspective at the end of Book 5. What are the obstacles in front of him, short-term and long-term? This is something I did not do when I made my original video. Yes, I know, shame. Lady Dustin does a good job of assessing the game as it stands in A Dance with Dragons. Quote, "Truth be told," she said, "Lord Bolton aspires to more than mere lordship. Why not King of the North? Tywin Lannister is dead. The Kingslayer is maimed. The imp is fled. The Lannisters are a spent force, and you were kind enough to rid him of the Starks. Old Walder Frey will not object to his fat little Walda becoming a queen. White Harbor might prove troublesome should Lord Wyman survive this coming battle, but I am quite sure that he will not. No more than Stannis. Roose will remove both of them as he removed the young wolf. Who else is there?" End quote. It seems the road to Winterfell is quite clear. Lady of Winterfell or Queen in the North, Littlefinger is free to try either. It turns out it's easy to make yourself a monarch when all potential challengers are fled or dead. That's kind of funny because that's how Jaime was meant to become king in the original draft of the series. But in any case, there seems to be an avenue for Sansa to become queen. There's just one thing. She's a girl.
A girl.
There's never been a queen regnant in the South or the North, unless you count Rhaenyra, and she only managed it for half a year. I mean, it's a better runtime than Jane Grey, but who's counting? Now, just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it can't happen. The novelty of it just adds a level of complexity to the situation. The North is currently in chaos. I know that presents a tempting target for Littlefinger because...
Say the line, Bart!
Chaos is a ladder.
Yeah!
But that also means the North needs a strong ruler. Winter is not just coming anymore. Sweaty winter is here. Sansa has never ruled anything before. What does she know of statecraft, of warcraft, of starcraft?
Nuclear launch detected.
Oh, fuck. The North, I am sure, would love to have a Stark back in Winterfell, but I can see Sansa quickly becoming queen in name only. Daenerys might rule as queen without a regent at the age of 14, but that's not how it's typically done. Sansa might be made a queen, but her council and regent would rule the North. This solves the issue of Sansa being so young and so female. Ruling is never easy, but being a monarch during peacetime is very different from ruling during war. Now, I'm not saying Sansa being a girl is strong evidence Littlefinger isn't going to make her a queen. It's likely he plans on using her as a figurehead. He will be the power behind her power. I doubt he would insist on being her regent though. That didn't quite work out in the Eyrie, and he would be much more out of his element in the North. Still, that doesn't stop him from being Sansa's version of Grima Wormtongue. And if any of the Northmen have a problem with him whispering in her ear, they will be hard-pressed to do anything about it. How can they complain about Littlefinger lingering in the North when he was the one that rescued Lord Eddard's precious daughter and returned her home to them? Littlefinger going north in another attempt to use a girl to claim power is exactly what will lead to his downfall. but you all will have to wait for my Littlefinger video to hear more thoughts on that. So, in summation, I should have looked at things from Littlefinger's point of view the last time I talked about the 3 potential queens. The North is kind of the last place Littlefinger will find welcome because he's kind of cut himself off from the South. So it benefits him greatly to make Sansa a queen. She can use her power to protect him. All Littlefinger has to do is to clear out the rabble currently at Winterfell. That shouldn't be too difficult considering the Freys, Boltons, and Manderleys don't even like each other. Littlefinger's plan does have some long-term problems though. He doesn't know about the others. It's 50-50 if he knows about Dany's dragons or not. And even if he does know, from his perspective, Dany isn't making any major moves toward Westeros. He has no idea about young Griff. He's counting on Cersei's power collapsing and for the next monarch to be uninterested or unable to bring Winterfell back into the Seven Kingdoms. Remember the council scene from Book 3 where Lord Redwyne says he would willingly give up the North to the Ironborn since there's nothing up there worth fighting for. So to Littlefinger, making Sansa queen might actually be super easy, barely an inconvenience. But it's going to get him killed. He just can't see it because he's in love with his daughter girlfriend. Ugh. Time to wrap things up. I understand my original video on the 3 queen problem had some issues. Okay, I made a bad theory video.
Sad.
I do think I made a good case for why it's not Daenerys, which is why the video is going to stay up, but I should have made a case for Sansa. Oops. But you can see how there are some issues with the idea of Littlefinger making Sansa queen. I'm not saying Sansa becoming queen isn't going to happen. I'm just saying it might not be Littlefinger that makes it happen. Sansa became queen on the show because of bad writing. Littlefinger had nothing to do with it. By that point, he was very dead. So her path to becoming queen might be much different in the books, if it ever happens. I am certain, however, Sansa will go from pawn to player, and that's going to be very bad for Littlefinger. Sansa revealing herself to the North will likely have the same dramatic effect young Griff revealing himself to the realm will have. You mean you survived against all odds this whole time? That's a song. That's a story. Hey, everyone, let's flock to her banner. For Sansa, this will be the truth. She did survive. For young Griff, it will be a lie. Baby Aegon is dead as hell. The reveal that Lord Eddard Stark's daughter is still alive will galvanize a lot of people, to be sure. I'm not sure how the North will react if she's married to Harry the heir. He seems to be a good lad, if not a little arrogant. But then again, he's a knight, and knights in A Song of Ice and Fire are like superheroes on The Boys. They're assholes. Harry will bring the armies of the Vale with him, which will be very nice. They'll arrive just in time for the next long night. Then a bunch of them will die. Making Sansa Lady of Winterfell would be an easy sell. Making her queen will be harder for Littlefinger if that's his plan, but it's still very much a possibility. Sansa Stark is probably the 3rd queen Littlefinger spoke of. Now, Sansa being the young and more beautiful queen from the Valonqar prophecy, that's another video entirely. But that's it for now. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for holding me accountable for having a bad idea. I don't want to get on here and spread bad ideas. And by doing this video, I want to show I am open to suggestions and corrections, within reason. Because none of you can convince me Quentyn Martell is alive. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Consider supporting this channel on Patreon or becoming a channel member. Memberships go for as little as $1 a month. Big ups to the following Patreon supporters and channel members, including Philip E., Daniel, and Jessica P. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. And as always, remember,
the lords of Westeros are sheep. Are you a sheep? No. You're a dragon. Be a dragon.